Hey guys, it's Protendo, and Splatoon 3? What? I can't be the only one who never expected to see this game as soon as we did, right? I mean, going into the February Direct, a new Splatoon game was just about the last thing I anticipated. I remember seeing tons of theories and predictions about a third Splatoon game's reveal, but I always blew them off because 1, Splatoon 2 is still selling really well and has an active player base, and 2, the series struck me as the type to appear once per generation. Add on the fact that there's some overlap between the Splatoon development team and the Animal Crossing team, and I was almost certain that we wouldn't see a Splatoon sequel for another 3 years at best. But we all know how much Nintendo loves to prove me wrong, so lo and behold, Splatoon 3. And you can imagine what my reaction was. Okay.
Please take a look at this.
He looks very happy with himself. What's it gonna be? No way! Oh! The growth of Splatoon is really incredible to me. I mean, this is a franchise that had its start on a failed console in 2015, and only 6 years later, it's massively popular and we're waiting for the release of its third mainline game. That's a level of success most series only dream of. So, in seeing how well the franchise is doing, I thought it was finally time to talk about something that a lot of people don't seem to talk about. How Splatoon is one of Nintendo's most important IPs, and one that should help shape the company's future. It's important to clarify that I'm not just referring to the financial success of Splatoon. If that were the case, this video would have ended about a minute ago when I mentioned the series' insane growth and popularity. I think the why is much more important than the what in this case. Why is Splatoon as huge as it is, and how can Nintendo learn from that? As Nintendo fans, we often praise the company for their creativity and innovation in their games. They always seem to try and implement new things in their titles, for better and for worse. But despite this, they rarely attempt to do something truly new. Nintendo relies on their legacy IPs more than any other game developer. While Sony and Microsoft often use completely new games and series to try and increase the sales of their systems, Nintendo tends to stick with the franchises that they've had for a very long time. Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Smash, Animal Crossing, these are all series that have existed for multiple decades, and here they are in 2021, still leading the company. Now, this is hardly a bad thing since they're still innovating in these series, ensuring that they'll never lose the freshness that people fell in love with more than 20 years ago. You can't exactly compare Mario Odyssey to Mario Golf, or Animal Crossing GameCube to Animal Crossing New Horizons. But Nintendo's insistence to rarely step outside of the few select franchises we see today can often make them feel a little formulaic. When a new Nintendo system gets announced, you'll already know what to expect. New 3D Mario, new Zelda, new Kirby, new Smash Bros., etc. Once again, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing since I adore all the series I just mentioned. I'm not saying that Nintendo should drop their legacy characters or series since they're a major part of the company's identity. But it can be insanely refreshing to see the company try something completely new. Let's move back to the middle of the Wii U era in 2014 for a second. Things are pretty meh. The system's selling terribly, and there aren't very many games aside from Smash to look forward to on the horizon. But then, Nintendo's E3 happens, which was one of their best in my opinion. And amongst the expected games, your Zeldas and your Kirbys, there was something that no one expected. Something entirely different, something fresh. This was of course the initial reveal of Splatoon, Nintendo's crack at the third-person shooter genre. And it looked incredible. The gameplay seemed fast and energetic, the visuals were vibrant and expressive, and its entire concept was so wonderfully Nintendo while still feeling like something they'd never done before. It seemed like the exact type of thing the Wii U desperately needed. After Splatoon's release the following year, it was almost universally praised for its originality, and became one of the hottest games on the Wii U. Well, as hot as you can be when you're stuck on the glacier that system was. Despite the shackles that held it back, Splatoon was still extremely popular in the Nintendo community, with a fanbase that grew over the course of the Wii U's lifespan. It had reached all corners of the box it was trapped in because of its concept and gameplay alone. The only way for it to get bigger was to remove the box entirely. And in came the Nintendo Switch. Back in January of 2017, Splatoon 2 was officially announced, being one of the first games revealed for the system. And having the game come out so soon after the original, as well as in the first few months of the Switch's release, was one of the smartest things Nintendo could do, because not only did it carry the momentum of the first, but it also pulled in millions of new fans because of the Switch's success. And here we are, 4 years later, and Splatoon 3 is essentially right around the corner. And the question is, why? Why do I think Splatoon is one of Nintendo's most important franchises? And it's because it shows Nintendo the benefit of attempting something completely new. Nintendo took a risk by making Splatoon. The Wii U was failing, their company was struggling, but instead of completely giving up on originality, they still attempted something new, a craft of pure creativity and charm. Unlike most of Nintendo's big hitters, this didn't have a legacy of multiple decades to stand on. It didn't have any sort of history to compel fans to purchase it, but they knew they had something special with its concept, so they put it out anyway. And they were rewarded for it. We're waiting on the third entry in the series just 6 years after the original game's release. Splatoon is currently one of Nintendo's most popular and recognizable franchises. The Inkling is an icon. And it's all because they took that initial risk. They jumped headfirst into the unknown and reaped the benefits. It's something I hope they continue to do in the future. While some could make the argument that they are still doing that since ARMS exists, I don't think it's the same thing. Splatoon 1 alone not only provided gameplay unlike anything else in the market, but also created a world for players to get immersed and invested in, and characters that immediately became fan favorites. Everything about it was purely original. ARMS, on the other hand, was kind of just like, what if we had boxing but the arms are stretchy? Sure, it too attempts lore in some portions and kind of has characters, but it all pales in comparison to the inherent freshness of Splatoon, something that spewed creativity from head to toe. As Nintendo moves on from the Switch era, they have even more opportunities to attempt endeavors like this because of the system's success. And I hope they really let their developers run wild with a game like they did with Splatoon, because you never know when you'll make your next big hit. But anyways guys, that's about it for this video. I'd love to hear what you think. Do you want to see Nintendo make more new franchises like Splatoon, or would you rather them continue to stick with their roots? And is Splatoon as important as I made it out to be? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all later. Protendo out.